What's up, everyone? Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Isaiah Copon. It's January 8, 2026, and this is Lift and Learn episode 151. In this episode, I'll talk about how to keep building that momentum after the first week of the year. Most people fall off in the first few weeks. Listen to that part of the episode and don't be a part of the statistic. And then I'll talk about recovery and why that's so underrated. Killing yourself in the gym isn't going to get you results. It's all about recovering properly. Before we get into today's episode, I'll share what life has been like lately. Sometimes it'll be fitness related in some aspect. If you want to follow along, you can find me on Instagram at isaiah.copon or check out my website, isaiahcopon.com, where I offer personal training and coaching. The podcast also has its own page as well. That's at Lift and Learn Podcast. That's where I'll be posting short clips of the show. And now for today's episode. Alright, so now it's really the new year. The first full week in the new year now, fresh for some of us when it comes to pretty much everything. And this being a fitness and health podcast, that's what I want to talk about and how to improve that as much as possible to make this year the best year in terms of health gains. It's the second week in now, and for me, cut continues. I meal prepped this week, got the chicken ready. Ground beef is fired up, ready to go. Shrimp in the freezer, ready to go towards the end of the week as well. Started the year around 170 pounds. I think I mentioned this last time, 22% body fat. So let's see what I can get down to. Something like under 17% by the end of March, maybe, which I think I mentioned too. Running starting to pick up again once a week right now. I'm getting actually pretty used to being like in minus 10 weather. It's not that big of a deal, right? The Lulu running gloves I got, pretty cool. They do still feel a bit cold, but they do their job. I also mentioned that I got a balaclava. I always forget that word, honestly, and that's been pretty good to use. A bit harder to breathe, but I can work through it, and it probably makes training a bit harder, which helps me in the long run, you know? So I've been experimenting a little bit lately with this new camera I got. Shout out to the wifey. I got the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, even though I know the 4 is coming out soon, so I'm literally just recording anything and everything right now. Got some great moments over the last few days, like with my daughter, we're just hanging out. But I'm going to start bringing it into the gym soon and get some good footage maybe. That's the plan at least. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it pans out. Things I do want to record this year, though, is like a full meal prep, maybe like a grocery haul or something that I think is basic, but I could still find a way to make it maybe be useful. So my life, been pretty chill past 2 weeks. I think I only worked like 3 days out of the last 14 or something like that before this week started. So lots of family time, which I love. My cousins came over last week, as is, I guess, tradition now, the past 2 years. We'll try to keep that going moving forward for sure. And we watched Now You See Me 3. Yeah, that's what it was. I watched so many movies last week. I'm losing track of what I watched on which day. But yeah, Now You See Me 3, that was pretty good. Enjoyed that. Then it was New Year's Eve the next day. Stayed up. And then lazy January 1st, I remember. That one we watched Oppenheimer at home. And then the new movie in the new Knives Out series on Netflix, we watched a bit of the Steve Jobs movie. That came out like 10 years ago, actually. That's kind of crazy that was 10 years ago now. Still haven't watched it, but watched the first half there. Seemed pretty good, so I'll have to go back and finish that one up. All right, back to reality, though, man. Gyms are busy, but not as busy as I thought so far, because on Monday there was a bit of snow, so that probably stopped some people from going to the gym. I've had a busy week already. I had to renew my Costco membership, so that was a bunch of stress that is now out of the way. My daughter's not feeling the greatest this week, so she's required like a little bit more of attention than usual, but I'm not complaining about that. I know those days won't last forever, so I'm just going to cherish those moments, honestly. Nothing else too exciting on a personal level that I can think of right now. I'm just really glad I don't have to deal with the afternoon rush anymore, but even in the mornings, I've seen a bump up in the crowd. Good luck to those who have to work out after work and have to handle that rush hour crowd. Man, I've only done it like a handful of times, and I don't know if I could work out at any gym when it's like 4 to 7 p.m. A small tip I can give you to start this year is that if your machine or bench is taken in the gym and it's in your routine to do whatever exercise it is, just move on, come back to it later. The show must go on. There's no point of you waiting for like 10 minutes just for a machine that's next in your program. Especially with how busy things are, just get in there and do what you can. Topic number 1, building momentum after week 1. Okay, so we've been in it for like a week now. The new year's definitely kicked off, and this is the first full week of the new year. So Monday, you might have finally got started off fresh with your resolutions of the year, whatever. Reality is set in now. Are you going to be just a part of the statistic of people falling off? I think less than 10% of people will stick to their resolutions for the whole year, and about 60% drop off in the first month. So do you want to be a part of that statistic, or are you here for the long run? If you are here for the long run, then let's make sure some of the important check boxes are, well, being checked off. You have new goals, you have some new plans. Now, how do you keep it going? If you want to solidify your discipline, your new year, new me goals, then you need a good plan. Motivation isn't going to be around forever, but it may be what got you started, and I think that's great. Regardless, to future-proof these goals, focus on your structure, habits, and your daily routines. Crush that, and then you'll continue to move towards those goals. So week 1 is actually the easy part, even though it might not seem like it. A lot of people just start doing whatever it is. And me being trainer for over a decade now, I can tell you right now, the first week in the gym is the easiest, but sustaining it in the long run or for the long run can be the tricky part. Ingrain this whole fitness thing into your life, which I'm assuming you're after since you're listening to a health and fitness podcast. The goal is to eventually get to the point where it's like second nature, like your morning routine is probably the same, right? Pretty standard. You wake up, you make and eat breakfast, brush your teeth, get your coffee ready, whatever it is. And this is how fitness should be as well. It's just something that you have to find a way to naturally fit it into your life, even though it may not seem like it right now. Now, that doesn't mean you have to train every single day. Maybe you're working out just every other day, which is fine. For sustainability purposes, you could come up with a goal that's something along the lines of not missing 2 workout days in a row. Don't change everything all at once. That makes this whole process a whole lot harder. Focus on a few key habits, maybe like 2 or 3 workouts a week, or just 1 big protein meal if you can't do 3 right now. Maybe just getting a half hour more sleep every night, maybe tracking your workouts, which I talk about all the time. The more consistent you get with this, the less effort it takes to actually stay consistent. Your mindset right now, just 1 week in, it might already be negative. You might be thinking, oh man, I already missed a workout, I can't do this, or I ate out already this past weekend, so I'm already off track. Remember that there's always ebbs and flows with progress. You can't expect everything to just get better every single day. And that's the same with weight loss too, if that's your goal. You could have one day where you worked really hard in the gym, did a good sauna session, ate in a calorie deficit, or ate really good that day. And then the next day, when you step on the scale, you're the same weight or even up a little bit. It's not the end of the world. Just stick to the habits regardless. In the long run, making these better changes or substitutions, that's where the progress will come. Momentum and keeping that going forward, we need to think about stacking these small wins, okay? I mentioned that briefly last week, but it's so important and becomes more sustainable if we think this way. We're actually looking positively at things now. Momentum doesn't come from motivation. It comes from the proof that you're actually putting in the work. Track what you're doing and keep on going. That's it. Easier said than done, though. Don't quit, right? That's another one. Easier said than done. But you just need to adjust your schedule and continue however you can. Not every session needs to be 90 minutes or even 60 minutes. Sometimes even just 15 minutes is better than doing nothing. It just needs to be done. That's it. You just need to do something to keep that habit going forward, whatever it is. And that will go a long way. And this is why I've mentioned in the past, when it comes to thinking about how many times per week could you train for the rest of your life? Not just when you're off of work for a week and able to go every single day. What happens when life gets busy? Do you throw the whole plan out the window? No, you got to find out or figure out how many times and specifically when in your week you're going to work out. Because most of us do work 35 to 45 hours a week, but How are you going to find maybe 2 or 3 hours a week where you can actually do something for yourself instead? And that's exactly why that shift in mindset I talked about earlier is so important. It's all about your habits and behaviors. After week one, it's all about the consistency. Just showing up every day, even before the results start to show. That's the tough part. But if you stick with it, you're set for life. So figure out how you can make this, the whole fitness, whatever, your fitness regime or routine in your life, and you'll be better than pretty much everyone else in your age group. I have just talked to a 55-year-old who I just spoke to, I think, on Monday, and he started working out 2 years ago on New Year's Day. He actually went to play pickleball on the weekend, and he said that the gap, between him and his friends playing this sport, even though, the entry level is pretty easy, but he just felt like he was on another level because he's been working out for 2 years. So now he's noticing that it's becoming more and more evident. He's able to move so much better than everybody else. He deals with less aches and pains on a daily basis. He doesn't have to take like 10 pills every single day before getting out of bed. So he sees the benefit of this lifestyle. So if you want to be that person who lives independent, healthy, then figure out how you're going to make fitness a priority and how does it, just fit it into your schedule somehow. I gave you some tips and will continue to do so, but at the end of the day, it's all about just taking action. Topic number 2, recovery. Why is it underrated? I think I might have covered this a few times at this point, but at this time of the year, I think it's a great topic to talk about just because you might have been new to working out just last week or earlier this week, and right about now, or maybe soon after this episode, you might be feeling the effects of those workouts. You might still be going super hard in the gym in your routine because you don't want to fall off or you don't want to miss a day, but you have to remember that recovery is just as, if not more, important than the high intensity days. Your results don't happen while you're training, they happen while you're recovering from the training that you did. So if you feel like in the next few weeks you're not getting stronger or something, or if you're currently in a place where your body just feels beat up, or it's another leg day coming up and you're just not recovered, then this might be why. You're working hard, but not recovering enough. It's funny because the training doesn't make you stronger, it's the recovery that does, and that's the truth. During training, what happens is you're stressing the nervous system, you drain your energy, and you're breaking your muscle tissue down, creating these little micro tears from those workouts. And then recovery, the real key, this is where you rebuild muscle, restore your hormones, and actually improve performance for the future. Here's the thing, you need to find a balance when it comes to how hard you're working out and what you're able to recover from before your next gym session. And that might mean less workout volume than you think, especially if you're new to this. Without the proper and adequate recovery, more effort does not actually equal more results. It's like planting seeds and never watering them. You're not going to grow. So if you're working out and not recovering, that's kind of what you're doing here. You're doing the work, but not giving your body what it needs to grow. Recovery could mean a lot of different things. It could mean time off, or it could be feeding your body more than what you might be used to. This is a lesson I think everybody just has to experience for themselves. It's more than just a rest day. It's a combination of sleep, nutrition, mobility and stretching, and active recovery, stress management. All of these will play a factor in how well you're recovering and building. Of course, doing all of these well, you'll achieve the best results. Let's talk about sleep first for a bit here. This is where your body releases growth hormone, repairs those micro tears in your muscle that you did during your workout, regulates other hormones. This is where I lack the most, pretty much the majority of my life. Although that has gotten better in the past year, it's still not where I'd like it to be at. Most people will be sacrificing sleep for scrolling on their phone or watching TV late at night. For me, the biggest factor is having to wake up before 4 a.m. because I have work at 5 a.m. That makes it tough to get an optimal amount of sleep, but I do my best. If you're not sleeping more than 7 hours at the very least, you may notice a decrease in test levels, growth hormone levels, and you could even be sacrificing things like performance, focus, and even fat loss. That's what the studies have shown. In terms of your food and nutrition, I can talk about that for a bit too. You need to give your body what it needs to rebuild. I know you know that protein is important, but carbs are as well. Just don't neglect them. Protein repairs, or it helps repair the muscle tissue. Carbs help replenish your glycogen stores and also helps your body bounce back faster. It gives you energy that you're ready to use. If your body's under eating either of these, then you can't recover efficiently because these are the building blocks your body literally needs. Stay hydrated as well. I noticed that, that one's tough for my clients as well. Bring a water bottle with you everywhere and keep in mind how many you need to drink in order to be hydrated properly. Again, most people can benefit from simply drinking more water. And this is one area I'm really working on improving for myself. One of my new habits and goals for the year is to pay more attention to my water intake, and it's been good to start the year. Some days I've been off, but other times I've been so on point. And honestly, maybe TMI, but on those days my pee is like clear, but I spend way too much time having to actually go to the bathroom. But that's a good sign here. My personal water bottle, I either need to drink 2 or 3 of them depending on which one I take with me that day. And when I say recovery, I used to think, okay, I'm going to chill back on the couch or the bed, play some PS5 for multiple hours since I'm already here. But that's actually the opposite of what you should be doing. Sometimes the best recovery is movement, and that's why doing some mobility work or your stretches post-workout, or on those days where you do feel the most sore, that would be ideal for you. And it hurts like hell to start when you're super sore. Like the other day I was doing squats and my quads the next day were so sore. But just doing a simple quad stretch where I'm trying to bring my heel to my butt, just doing that was a challenge the whole way. But afterwards I felt so much looser. My body relaxed that tension in the legs after less than a 30-second stretch. It's really amazing the difference you can feel. I've now been doing FST on my clients, which is fascial stretch therapy, and every single time I complete a 30-minute or 60-minute session with a client, they're like, damn, I feel great. They usually walk in sore. Sometimes if I see a client on back-to-back days, the second day might be a bit of training mixed with the table or just the table for an hour, depending on how they feel. But yeah, they always get off the table and say things like, that feels good, or that's exactly what I needed, or I'm not as tight now, and they're able to move a lot better, which just helps with the recovery process and how you feel for the rest of the day. You can have some of those gains as well if you just spend a few minutes just stretching, even though it might be painful for the first few seconds of those movements. You should just do it. It's part of the recovery process. And that concludes episode 151 of the podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Lift and Learn podcast. If you enjoyed the episode or the podcast as a whole, it would mean a lot if you left a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening to this. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. New episodes are currently being released on Thursdays. You can find me, your host, on Instagram at isaiah.copon or visit my website at isaiahcopon.com. If you want to follow the podcast itself, head over to Instagram and look up at Lift and Learn Podcast. Thanks again for listening. See you next time.